Boom. Hey internets, I had a good comment that I wanted to make a video on, and this came through as one of the messages on another video. So if you drop your messages below, I read them all, and I'm pretty good about replying to everybody in the community because I appreciate your time. And so B. Edwards hit me up and said, is a bit of a thread, but he asked, why are there no manufacturers posting on pages like this? It's an interesting question. And so a lot of people, there'll be people that come onto my videos sometimes. You'll see them and they'll say, you know, I need the hookup for something. Or I might be talking about production and they'll say, or I'll get emailed. Like some of you guys might email me and say, hey, I need a cut and sew manufacturer. Or I need to make whatever, board shorts. I need to make button down shirts, knits. I need to make some hats. Do you have a good vendor? And so, and I responded to B. Edwards on the thread if you find it, but I just want to make a video to give value to the community so you can understand my standpoint and what I'm saying about it. And so I basically told him there's a myriad of reasons why I won't reveal or connect some of you guys to my vendors, and there's also reasons why vendors wouldn't post on the page. Okay, now I get hit up by vendors all the time, and so it's a struggle for me because of my work schedule to really allocate enough time to that, and I want to in the future. You can see that I'm posting more, so I'm moving more towards this life of YouTubing. And becoming more of a clothing brand mentor and really trying to help brands. But I'm also doing work at the same time. I'm still doing design work. And I'm doing a ton of consulting as well. But I'm getting hit up by those people. And I want to do my due diligence to make sure if I introduce anybody to the platform that they're certified. Right? So I have a screen printing. I have a screen printing shop that I always refer people to in San Diego. And they ship around the world. They actually print for all around the U.S., all the way to New York on the other side of the country, and they're great. But vendors where it comes to making cut and sew apparel are hard to come by. So one reason why I wouldn't post my contact of production is because if any of you find a really good production house that will do small runs, because that's what everybody's asking for. If you find someone who does small runs and does it at a competitive price, you're not going to tell anybody. And I'm not going to tell anybody either. I might give a couple brands that I really think are lined up, have their ducks in a row and are ready to kill it. I might give them that contact, but I don't want the contact to get out there, because once they get out there, they're going to totem pole everybody, right? Because think of it from the mindset of a production house. Their goal is to make business happen. So as they get bigger and bigger clients, they're going to go from small guys to medium-sized guys to bigger guys. Because as owning service for production, having owned a high-volume screen printing shop, the same screen that I set up for, you know, whatever little clothing line that wants to do 50 shirts, I'll set up the same screen on the same machine for Blizzard and do 1,000 shirts of one design. So for all the effort that I put into the one design, Blizzard is going to pay me to make 1,000 shirts. Whereas this small clothing company is going to pay me to do 50 shirts. And from my actual experience, that brand is going to be the most passionate. But I mean, what I want to say is they're going to be the biggest pain, depending on the situation and how the person communicates to me and my people. They might be the biggest pain because they're using, I mean, this is like lunch money. This is like money that they need to use on other things sometimes, but they want to try to pop off their line. So they're using those last dollars just to make these 50 shirts. So they could be overcritical, or, I mean, it just depends. When I'm dealing with someone who's done screen printing before and is a budget that comes from a company, even me, when I'm outsourcing graphics to other screen houses, when I was not owning my screen printing shop, you know, I mean, I already know we're going to do like anywhere from 300 to 500 shirts, and then we're going to break those up in sizes, and we're going to keep running because the t-shirt program is live and well and doing well. So to come back to the point, if I give my vendor out to everybody, I mean, everyone's going to use them. Now they're going to, next time I call them to make a garment, they might be too busy, or they'll take the business, but it's gonna realistically it's gonna take longer than they say it will to get it done, and that means that they're growing. It also can mean that there's a mismanagement of people, but that's a whole nother video to talk about how they approach their logistics and refine their process for making production, because it's a very difficult thing to do. So that's one thing. Another thing on the other side of the coin that I want to bring up is if someone does post on my page randomly and says, "Hey, I do this, and I'll beat everyone's price, or have a special, like, they'll use numbers like 100 embroidered hats for $100 or something like that." I'm skeptical. And I won't delete it most of the time. I mean, I'll let you guys figure out what you want to do, but I'm not co-signing it. If I co-sign it, that's a different stamp on it. That means I've worked with them and I'm comfortable giving out the contact as someone that's doing really good production. Again, because I owned production for like 3 years and I got out of it because of a myriad of things. But I understand the psychology of what happens inside of a business like that, and coming from the brand side for so many years. So if someone just randomly posts like, we have specials and we can take anybody on and we have the lowest price no matter what, I know that they're trying to drum up business, but it ends up being a case-by-case situation where you do one run and feel good about it and keep going, and you get a vibe for those people to see what that vendor is like. Because everybody that's going to try to make product, everyone's going to get burned at some point. Know this. So even if I co-sign a production company, there's a very good choice that you guys will get burned by the company, but they're still good. They can still be good, or you can say, "Oh, I'm never working with them again." Production houses fold all the time. So imagine trying to find the link in China. So I have companies that I've worked with the past to do tons of styles, but they're not the right company to give a very small company that can only facilitate doing 100 pieces, because they typically won't even talk to you. They'll start at more like, 500 pieces is really a favor. So if I could get a production house to go down to 300, I'm pulling strings, because really they want the orders to start around 1,000 pieces for mass production. Because again, for them, the same setup to manufacture one garment is the same for manufacturing 1,000 of them. So you could understand. But how do we get the leap from making 0 apparel pieces to 300, 500, 1,000? It's a big gap, and I understand that. So that's why I have so many videos kind of going in depth about how we could try to bridge that gap. But in my experience, these companies won't talk to me as a small brand, because I'm working with a multi-million-dollar brand that will do at the least 300 pieces. When I was at Arisu, our small numbers were like 500, but we'd make up for it with other pieces where we were making 800 pieces of a jacket or whatever program. Our knits did really well. So our knit program, if we were giving them our business, then they're making a good chunk from that one company, from Arisu or whatever the company is, right? So if you're a startup company, everyone has something to lose. You have money to lose. They have time to lose, because they're doing a favor if they're making 300 pieces. They're not going to make a whole lot of money off of that. And they're going to ask for the money as much upfront as possible. They're definitely asking for a deposit. Then you guys are emailing me like, "Hey, I feel shady. I've never worked with them before." But the truth is, there's so many vendors out there. It's tough for me to know whether they're good or not. So that's another thing. Like, can I co-sign them? Can I not? So just on those few points that I mentioned, this video is getting really long. B. Edwards, thank you for bringing it up, and I want to bring the conversation out to the community. So you guys might have tons of questions based on it. Drop it all down below. I am building the academy, and I'm building a resource page on there. I'm trying to figure out how to do it, and I am methodically visiting different production houses, both here and talking to them abroad, to try to see if I could facilitate a little bit a better connection for production for some of my brands that are really, really ready for that next step. But you'll know, because I'll drop that in the future. Any questions about it, anything that you wanted to ask about production or anything else, Drop it all down below. Follow me on social media when you get a chance. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.